Hey, y'all, come on in the room. I'm going to start in exactly 1 minute. Let me see here. Okay. It doesn't allow me to add people on this one. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. If people come in, they come in. If not, I'm going to go ahead and upload this to my YouTube channel for a replay. That way you guys have it and you can refer back to it. So I am super duper excited. And, at any time, let me know if you cannot hear me well or if you can't see me, because I am streaming dual on Periscope and on Facebook. I'm really excited about this series, you guys. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner. I'm just so humbled and grateful to be able to add value to your life in this way. I truly am. And so today we're going to be talking about how to transform trauma, right? We're going to be talking about how to transform trauma, traumatic situations and or experiences, negative experiences. And this will be a series. I will be going live on Periscope and going live on Facebook Live on my business page every Tuesday and Thursday. I will be going live every Tuesday and Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for this series. Now, here's a small note. This series has several parts, okay? Today, we are in part 1. And part 1 is going to run on for a little bit through different topics, and that's going to become clear in a second when I begin to lay the framework, and you'll understand exactly what we're doing. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Robyn Robbins, founder and CEO of Robyn Robbins Enterprises, where I faithfully, humbly, and excitedly serve as a best-selling author, personal transformation, life coach, speaker, and advocate. Yes, you guys. And I'm just so stoked about this series. I cannot express to you how much, and how excited I truly am. For the simple fact that in our society and in our culture, things like this are not discussed as much. The type of things that we're going to be talking about are things that kind of get brushed under the table, if you will, and they get covered up, and we have all of these beautiful women that are just going through life continuously with the residue of negative experiences and or traumatic experiences. And I know this to be the case because I was one of them. Okay, so just in case you're wondering exactly what it is that I do, through each vehicle, I basically empower women to transform trauma and help them to create and design their ideal thriving life. Okay, I do this through each vehicle, speaking, advocacy, some of the books that I write, as well through the coaching, but more so mainly through the coaching. I would say is the overall and main vehicle in which I use the most to get this this message out and to serve the people that I have such a privilege of serving, really, to be honest. Again, as I stated before, sometimes this can get a little heavy, so I just want to put that out there because we're dealing with real life. This is real life. This is real talk. Okay, and so at times, depending on what part of the series we're on, it can get a little heavy. But I want to just let you know that you are in a safe space. You're in a non-judgment zone, and just know that there's nothing but love in this space, and that all is well when you come and join me in this space. So, as I stated, this is a series, How to Transform Trauma. Part 1. Part 1 is renewing the mind. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the mind. But today's specific topic I want to talk to you guys about is, I like to call it the survival syndrome. And so basically how this all pans out and how it all works out, I can't really get into that without, laying some framework, because then I would then be kind of like doing you and myself a disservice. Okay, it's important that we're able to follow everything that's happening. So there's two things that I want to give to you, if that makes any sense. I want to lay this down. I want all of us to understand that trauma is simply defined by the person. What does that mean? Two individuals can go through the same exact experience, but one of those individuals could be simply unbothered, right, by that experience, untouched by that experience. And then the other individual could have some lasting effects of how that particular ordeal or situation has affected them. And so it's important that in doing this series, we understand and know that trauma will always be defined by the person. Secondly, I want us also to know and understand that the ideal life that we want to create, that we are choosing to design, is also going to be defined by the person. Success is going to be defined by the person. It will vary per person. And this is the case because of the uniqueness of each individual and their current or present situation. Okay, what may be an ideal, thriving life for me may not be an ideal, thriving life for you, and so on. Success is defined by the person. That ideal, thriving life is going to be defined by the person, by their morals, by their standards, by their perspective, by the things that they truly desire. So before I get into, all that other stuff, I just thought it was really, really important to kind of lay that framework. And so we have that groundwork there as we build during this series. Okay, and as I stated before, very important, I want you to know that this is a safe space. This is a non-judgmental space. That's also very vital and important for you to know. You can feel free to ask questions anonymously if that makes you more comfortable. I'm here to serve. I'm here to share, and I'm here to serve solely. Okay, and so let's dig in. Okay, I'm not going to keep you too long, but I just wanted to lay that down so that we have a framework that we are working with. So, okay, and I don't know if you guys are picking that sound up. That's my dog in the background. I do completely apologize. He's playing with something, and I don't know if you can pick it up or not, so I do apologize about that. Okay, so let's get into this. Transforming trauma and the different ways we can transform our trauma, right? And what does that mean to transform trauma? Like, how can we do that? Who said we can do that? And how is that even possible? Life can throw us curveballs, and for the most part, we've been taught that that's life. Swallow it, chuck it up, and keep it moving. But what happens when there are experiences that have affected you in a way where you believe that you were okay after a while. You believe that you were over it, after a while. And then it begins to show up in your life again in ways that you didn't expect it to. And sometimes when that happens, we're stumped because we're like, we're not even sure what the root of it is. We're not even sure why it's happening or how it's happening. Or sometimes we're not even sure as to if there's a connection even to that ordeal that we had experienced either in childhood or in our adolescent years. We don't even know there's a connection. All we know, and I'm using hypothetical examples, all we know is that, we keep attracting a certain thing in our life, whether it be a certain type of relationship. So all we know at the moment is that, dang, I keep attracting these type of relationships, and that's really not the relationship that I want, but I keep attracting that. Or all we know at the time is, I'm struggling with my motherhood and my parenting, and I don't really understand why. I get a little bit of anxiety, when it comes to me being a parent or even becoming a parent, and we're not exactly sure how or why. This is what I call residue. Okay, so there sometimes can be residue from a traumatic experience and or ordeal that will show back up in our lives in a different area of our lives, and sometimes we're not sure what it is or even where it's stemming from. We just know that there's something that's uneasy happening and we're not sure why. What we know is that there's some results that we're getting that are not really favorable or in our odds, and we're not exactly sure why. And so for those of you who are wondering, you're like, okay, Robyn, you've introduced yourself. That's great. I'm clear on who you are. I'm even kind of clear on what it is you do, but could you tell me why you do what you do? Out of all the things that you could have chosen in life to do for a living, why did you choose this? And it is simply because I was once that person. I'm not perfect. I have not arrived by no means. Please don't misunderstand me. But I've done enough of the work to be able to help others that are going through the same things. It was the pain of what I went through, the loneliness of what I went through. It was the feelings of feeling unworthy and not worthy. I didn't even want to live at sometimes during the different negative and traumatic experiences that were occurring and reoccurring in my life. And I simply just want to be that woman that I wish I had when I was going through that. I wish I had somebody that was non-judgmental, that was compassionate, that could really help me through and help me to identify what it was that was happening to me, especially in my childhood years. And so this is why I do what I do. I've experienced the loss of my mom. I've experienced the loss of my father twice. One way was through drugs, and then secondly, through death. And, I witnessed my sister being molested. I then too was molested by that person. We went back and forth and in and out of foster care, constantly being taken away from our home at different times of our lives. I then went on to, because of the foster care system, I began to experience reoccurring sexual assault and trauma a lot reoccurringly, only then to go on and experience it in a way that where I was kind of like a sex slave, and then I was sex trafficked into the adult entertainment and sex industry. So I'm a person that understands what a negative experience and a traumatic experience could really do to us. and the need for experiencing healing on so many levels. Why? Because trauma itself penetrates in so many different levels. And because it does, it shows up in different areas of our lives, as we were just talking about, through residue. We thought we were good. We thought we were healed. We thought we were over it, right? But then certain things start to happen, and we're not understanding why it's happening. And so I want to present this to you before we get into the bulk of our topic, and then I'll let you guys go. But I want to present to you a thing I like to call silent suggestions or silent messages. And especially when you experience trauma in your childhood years, especially the first 6 years of your life, you know, children are shaped by these silent messages and shaped by their environment. I always say it like this: children are a blank canvas, and you can paint whatever picture that you would like to paint on them, and they're going to remember that picture. They're going to live up to that picture, and that picture will then be the standard of their life. And so with that being said, a lot of silent messaging and or suggestive messages or silent suggestive messages are sent at those times in our childhood through the different things that we experience. So as I stated earlier, for that woman that may be wondering, why am I attracting the type of relationships I'm attracting, or why is it that I'm experiencing anxiety when it comes to becoming a mother or being a mom? And it's because there are some roots there that may stem from your childhood. So what I would like to suggest is take a moment, take a deep breath, and really, really think back on your childhood. Is there any message that may have been sent to you that you were not aware of, that it wasn't prevalent at the time, but now that this residue is kicking up, it may help you to pinpoint where it's coming from. So let me give you an example. I'll use the woman that may be wondering why you are attracting the type of relationships that you are attracting. Could it possibly be that in your younger years and growing up, you saw the type of relationships that mommy was in, and the type of relationships that mommy was in weren't healthy? They were revolving relationships of different people in and out of her life, and they may have not treated her right, and they may have called her out her name. They may have even physically abused her, and that sent a silent message to you at a young age that this is what love is, or it could have sent, this is what love looks like. This is what we call a silent message and or a silent suggestion that's sent to us. And so you receive that message into your subconscious mind. And now as you matriculate through life and you begin to date, you are attracting similar relationships. And it's because of the message that has now been planted in your subconscious mind, and it's now running on auto. It's automated. So it's constantly attracting that to you. You see what I'm saying? I want to just stop for a second and say really quickly that you are not crazy. I do not want you to ever, at no time, ever feel like, you know, the way you have reacted to traumatic experiences or negative experiences, or the way they may trigger you now. I don't want you to take that on and say, well, something is wrong with me and I'm crazy. This is why we're here. You're not crazy. You're perfectly normal. We just have to get to the root of the residue, right? And once we can get to the root of it, we can shift the mindset and we can begin healing, right? Does that make any sense? So I want us to just be clear on what that suggestive messaging and silent messaging looks like. And I hope that example painted a pretty clear picture. And so now, you know, when you have time, you can go back and kind of like, you know, just take a deep breath and just really think back on your childhood and see if there's any connections where you are now, or the thing that's reoccurring in your life now, and a possible silent message that was sent to you. Often in traumatic experiences, when we experience different types of abuse, that often sends us the silent message that we are nothing and that we're not worthy, and that, you know, we're not even deserving of life. And it heavily affects self-esteem and self-image when it comes to trauma survivors, or those who go through negative experiences. And I promise you, I'm not lost. It's just all of this is important in order for you to understand what we are going to get into, which will take only about 3 minutes, not long at all. Again, I'm streaming live on 2 different devices. So if you see me kind of looking weird, it's because I'm trying to make sure that I'm reaching everybody right now. Okay. And if you're just now joining us, I'm Robyn Robbins, founder and CEO of Robyn Robbins Enterprises, where I humbly, faithfully, and, oh my goodness, excitedly serve as a best-selling author, a personal transformation life coach, speaker, and advocate. And today is the part 1 of our series of how to transform trauma. This particular part is called renewing the mind, understanding the mind so that it can be renewed. But our specific topic for today is the survival syndrome. Okay, the survival syndrome. And so I've spent this time basically laying our framework and our foundation so that we can have some understanding, so that we can get into this good survival syndrome. Now, some of you may be wondering, you may say, well, what is a survival syndrome? You know, what is that? It's something that this is what I call it. So I've put this together as a result of my experience and my work. And the survival syndrome is simply when one is living or existing in the residue state of that ordeal or trauma. Okay, so what does that mean? So we know that in survival, survival itself is someone that has lived or existed beyond and in spite of that ordeal and or traumatic experience. But what I like to tell people that I have the privilege of serving is that, do you really want to survive? Is surviving all that you feel that you are, that you can be? Or do you want to thrive in your life, right? So there's a difference there. And what I had noticed was that in going through the different ordeals and experiences that I had went through, I realized that I was living in what I like to call the survival syndrome phase, where everything that I did, everything that I said, everything that I even thought stemmed from that place. I was living, yes, I had survived, I made it, I was alive, you know, I'm not deceased. So I had survived the trauma or the ordeal or negative experience, but I wasn't quite living past that experience. I wasn't quite living outside of that experience. I was living and existing in the residue, in the residue state of that ordeal. I was living and I was existing inside of that residue state of that trauma. I wasn't living outside of it. I hadn't exceeded it. I wasn't able to live past it. Does that make sense? And so I want to talk about that a little bit. How when, you know, because of society, because of what society says, you know, therapy, who needs therapy, what goes on in this house stays in this house is another good one that, our culture and our society presents a lot. We are shamed for basically self-care and taking care of ourselves and for reaching out for help when we really do need it. And I believe it's because of these ideologies and the culture and what society has presented to us that we are backed into a corner and we don't reach for help. And so we try to deal with these ordeals and these traumatic experiences in the best way that we know how. And in doing that, we go through life with living in that phase and living out of that residue. I want to give you an example to kind of paint a picture of what that looks like, okay? So I used to have, and this is pretty light compared to how deep we could go with it, right? I used to have this huge fear of becoming a mother. Now, I absolutely adore children. I love children. I think they are amazing. I think they are one of the greatest gifts that God could have ever given us. But I had this fear, this amazing, resounding fear, this crippling, stifling fear of being a mom, let alone becoming a mom. And so for a long time, even when I was younger, like this fear stemmed, it goes way back. When I was younger, I used to say I didn't want to have kids because of that fear. And I went from saying, okay, I don't want to have kids at all to, oh, I'll have a child. But if I have a child, God, please give me a boy. Because I felt like I would be better at raising a boy versus raising a girl. To getting to the place where, God, whatever you give me, I'm okay. I'm going to be an amazing mom. Now, I want you to see how that train of thought started from being completely afraid and not wanting to mother a child at all whatsoever to, okay, I'll be a mom, but I'll only want to have a boy because that's the best that I can do. I'll only be good enough to have a boy to whatever you want to give me, God, I'm willing to receive and accept that because I think I'm going to be an amazing mom. See, that's what happens when we are able to do the work. And what it was that a lot of experiences that I had as a child growing up with different quote unquote mother figures in my life because I was in and out of foster care. And I lost my mom at the age of 6 at a very young age. So I had all these different types of mother figures that were in and out of my life, and they were not good mother figures. And my experiences were so horrible that it left me feeling, again, that silent message that, oh my God, I'm going to be a horrible mom. There's no way that I'm going to be able to be a mom because this is what, motherhood looks like. This is what motherhood is. So I won't be able to be a mom. But when I was able to locate that silent suggestion, that silent message that was sent to me through those past traumatic experiences and or negative experiences, I was able to then do the work to shift my mindset. And each time I was able to shift my mindset to a higher plane or a higher awareness of consciousness. And so I give you that example to show you how our thought process, our actions, and even what we say, how when we're living in that phase of survival syndrome, how it affects that. Now, could you imagine all of the decisions that you might have made or all of the thoughts you may have had or the actions that you may have taken that have come out of that survival syndrome phase versus it reflecting your true authentic self and the true desires that you really have, right? So this is what the survival syndrome can do when we are living in that phase. We think, okay, we're survived, but we're still living in the state of that residue of that trauma and ordeal. It affects us on such a deeper and higher level all at the same time, where, you know, we're not able to locate our authentic self because our authentic self is covered under that ordeal or that traumatic or negative experience. And so I want to leave you with these takeaways. Number one, when you get the opportunity, I want you to be very integral and honest with yourself and think about some silent messages that you may have been sent. Think about how it could be possibly showing up in your life. And if it is showing up, in what area is it showing up in? Is it showing up through your actions? Is it showing up in your thought process? Is it showing up in the things that you say? What is it? What is it that we're saying to ourselves? And is that really true? Or is it only because of the things that we have experienced? And is it only because we are living from the survival syndrome phase? So that's what I want you to think about and answer those questions really, really, really honestly. And I'll be back on Thursday. I'll probably just come with some inspiration on Thursday because what I do, my life works, it tends to be a little heavy. It's not, you know, everyone has their lane and everyone has what their purpose is in life. And what I've been purposed to do, it really causes us to do some deep digging, some deep diving, and some soul searching. And so I don't want to bombard you guys with this stuff on both live chats per week. So I'll probably just do, hey, and thank you so much for joining me. Could you please type in your name so I can address you and say hello officially? Yeah, so what I want to do is just simply, I don't want to bombard you guys because, like I said, it can tend to be a little heavy. So on Thursday, instead of picking up, I'll probably come with something a little bit lighter and more so inspirational. But be sure to follow me on Facebook at Coach Robyn, and make sure you're following me on Instagram at Coach RRE and Periscope at Coach RRE so that you can get the notification for this series. Thank you all so much for joining me. I so appreciate it. I really, truly hope that, you know, what we've discussed today really kind of helps you think about some things and kind of like locate some things so that we can get to the place where I can show you exactly how to transform your trauma. But dealing with the mind is imperative first. If I teach you the tools and the practicality of how to transform your trauma, it would be of no use and no good because the mind has to shift first. And so we have to kind of chip away at old paradigms. And so I want to thank you for joining me. Again, I'm Robyn Robbins from Robyn Robbins Enterprises, where I faithfully, humbly, and excitedly serve as a best-selling author, a personal transformation life coach, speaker, and advocate. I love, 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 love to empower women to transform trauma and thrive. Let me show you how you can transform traumatic experiences or negative experiences. Use those experiences as a springboard to catapult you into your ideal thriving life. I always tell the people that I have a privilege of serving that when you are able to have an unbiased perspective and look back at your experiences, you will see that there is a blueprint inside of that experience that literally has the power to propel you to your ideal thriving life. It's just amazing. And I want to show you how I was able to do it for myself and how I help others do that. And so don't wait just for my next live, you guys. Go ahead, click the link in my bio if you are on Periscope. click the link that's going to be attached to this live feed here on Facebook, you guys, and get your jump start, okay? Sign up for my free Life Cleanse Challenge. Get a jump start on transforming some things in your life, okay? You don't have to wait to the next live video. I would love to stay connected to you all. Be sure to follow me on social media at Coach RRE, on my Facebook page at Coach Robyn. I look forward to serving you guys. It has been a privilege. It has been an honor. Thank you so much. If you haven't heard it today, let me be the first to tell you that I believe in you. Let me be the first to tell you, if you haven't heard it today, I love you, and greater is ready. It's already prepared for you. Okay, so I believe in you, and no matter what happens in life, remember to always be unique, be bold, and be you. All right, I'll see you next time. Have a good one.